resume in 2023 as you explore the market or look at perhaps landing a new role? Let's discuss. Now, when you are working on your resume, here are 5 quick tips that will really help you get the most out of your resume and to really get those interviews that you really need to land your dream role or perhaps the next opportunity that you're interested in. There's always lots of information around resumes, and while some of it is good, a lot of it can just be regurgitated, and it seems like just ignoring the information is the best bet. However, as things move, as markets move, as roles change, as the interviewing process changes, and as how the companies interview change, you need to keep up with the times with your resume as well. And particularly nowadays where we're talking about AI parsing, AI evaluating resumes, lots of other textual data, it's more important than ever to make sure that your resume is ready to pass the test. So here are 5 tips. Start with number 1. So number 1, be concise and be brief with your resume. There's nothing worse than a manager trying to flip through resumes and seeing one with just 6 pages, double-sided, double-spaced, and just, a complete waste of their time. Nobody's going to review 6 pages of resumes. I've been told by previous hiring managers that when they see a resume of that size, they simply toss it in the bin. And, your mileage may vary with that, but I have not heard that, I have heard that more than once from various different managers over the years. So it is something to consider. Try to be brief, try to be concise about what you're saying. These people are busy and you want to catch their attention right away. Now, keeping on the theme of catching their attention right away, number 2 is to make sure that you highlight only the relevant experience. And what does that mean? If you're applying for, let's say, a senior developer role as a Java developer, you should highlight the last few roles, maybe 5 to 7 years, depending on what the role asks for, experience that is relevant. So if the role asks for 6 years of Java experience, you should highlight the last 3, 4, however many roles that span a 6-year period showing that you did Java work there. And as you do that, make sure that you tune and optimize your resume for other keywords and other key factors that the role may be interested in. For example, most of the time you will not be working in Java in isolation. So you may have Java as a tech stack for your application, but you may also involve Maven. There may be other tools involved, and you may be bundling all this stuff together with Docker, deploying it to a Kubernetes cluster. So be sure to capitalize on those aspects of the role that you may have been in. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be an expert at all of these things. However, having the relevant experience and kind of listing what your experience is with each of those technologies really helps to gauge with a quick glance where you stand against other candidates. Now, number 3, keeping in line with, keeping things concise, keeping it simple, optimizing your resume and tuning it for the position you're applying for. Number 3 is basically to contextualize your resume, for lack of a better word, contextualize your resume for the role that you're applying for. So, in other words, if you're dealing with a company in a specific industry and that industry, you have relevant experience in that industry, highlight what you did with the tech stack, but what specifically applies to that industry. So again, it's trying to close in with each step more and more exactly being the fit that the role is asking for. And that will likely increase your chances to at least land an interview, and then you should have success thereafter. So that's a separate process we can discuss in a separate video. But like I said, just make sure that you are brief, you are concise, you are optimizing for the role that you're applying for, and make sure that you contextualize. So every single bullet point that you state, for example, if you are working in a Java role or you have been in a Java role for the last 6 years, you're applying for a senior developer role in a Java position, you should highlight what stacks you worked with, what frameworks you developed, but what you did with them. So it's more so than just saying, oh yeah, I did Java, I did Spring, I did Maven, but okay, what problem did you solve? What industry, what business problem did you attack? So that gives the context to the reader of, hey, this person don't know Java. They can use Java and all these other tools to solve the business problem that they had. And what was the business problem? Kind of including that with tidbits will give them a little bit of juicy stuff to munch on. But when you land that interview finally, then you can really elaborate and start to build up your profile with them and the rapport. Now, in keeping in line, number 4, Avoid complex styling. So I know I've seen tons of resumes that are styled to death with multiple columns, lots of artwork, stylized headings and bold and things like that. At the end of the day, most likely none of that matters. Let me be clear with that. Unless you're in a creative field. So for example, creative writing, marketing, graphic arts, design, then that may be relevant to your role that you're applying for. But at the same token, you should still limit the amount of clutter that you would end up creating if you were to do that in your resume. The idea is for it to be very parsable, very digestible, because leading into the fifth and last point is that most likely, and we've known this for years, is that resumes are traditionally parsed by computer systems first before they ever see a human eye. Simply because oftentimes many roles will get hundreds of entrants and it's no longer possible or feasible to sit there and review 100 or 200 or even maybe several thousand resumes depending on the role that you're applying for. So the computer systems will be employed to look for keywords, to look for short phrases, to look for Java and other types of tech stacks and tags that they may be able to utilize to narrow down the candidates. So try to be the person with the resume that fits right in, and the computer catches you at every step. We are moving now more and more into an AI evaluation system. I've heard from several managers that I've worked with in the past and now I'm working with currently that they are now employing AI to pass resumes through these systems to ensure that it's even less work, because with AI they can also look at context, they can also look at phrases, words, and larger and larger pieces of the resume together to try and gauge whether or not you really are a fit. And this is only going to get further and further and more advanced. So as we move through the years, you're going to have to fight through these AI systems to land those precious interviews. So get really good with your resume, optimize. 5 steps again, we'll reiterate. Number one, be brief and concise. Number 2, optimize for the role that you're applying for. Number 3, bullet points to convey your context or the context around the role and the specific work that you did. Number 4, avoid complex styling to get caught up or get discarded even by the AI systems perhaps. And then number 5, be aware that AI or some machine system may be parsing your resume. So be specific about the tags, keywords, highlighting tech stacks, technologies, and other tool sets are mentioned along in your resume so that you can get caught and land those precious interviews. Hopefully these 5 tips will help you to optimize your resume a little bit further and to explore the market looking for your next opportunity in 2023. Leave me a comment below if you found any of this helpful, or if you have additional tips. Maybe we'll do a part 2 and perhaps even a part 3. We can do lots of stuff here to continue down this path. Thank you.